Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to your astrological forecast for the upcoming fortnight because I will not be able to record the astrological forecast next weekend because I will be celebrating my birthday. And after that, I will be relocating back to Europe. So I am going to cover 2 weeks of astrological weather in this one, including the new moon in Taurus, which we will be experiencing on April 27th and some other things. And before I go into astrology, I would like to make an announcement. I am running 40% off sale all my services starting today. When you're watching this, even though I am recording this a day before, but starting on April 20th and will be running until May 1st. So 40% of all my services in honor of my 40th birthday, which I will be experiencing and celebrating on April 26th, alongside the third and final Mars-Pluto opposition. So let's see where that leads. And now I would like to open the space for my higher self, my spirit guides, my angelic team, starseed families, our ancestors, of course, astrological team, Akashic record keepers, and all the beings of light that wish to be present for this recording. Thank you everyone for your time. Thank you everyone for being here, and let's just dive in. So I have tons of notes ready, so I am going to be looking at my notes and my phone because that's where I have some other things there. And yeah, and then I switch to the charts. So this might be a little bit longer because, as I said, I will be covering 2 weeks of transit. So I am recording this on Saturday the 19th. And today we are entering into Taurus season. So by the time you're watching this on Sunday, when I'm releasing this video, we are already in Taurus season. So happy birthdays to all Tauruses, including myself. And also Saturday the 19th, we are experiencing the third and the final trine between Mars in Leo and Neptune in Aries. However, this is the first one in the sign of Aries for Neptune, because previously the 2 trines happened while Mars was in the sign of Cancer and Neptune in a sign of Pisces. So yeah, that was on 28th of October last year and 12th of January this year. All right, then when you're watching this on Sunday the 20th, this is a very busy day, and I forgot to mention we entered into the weekend with moon in the sign of Capricorn, so we are restructuring everything. And yeah, on Sunday the 20th, we are experiencing third and a final sextile between Venus and Uranus, a third and a final sextile between Mercury, now in Aries, back in Aries, and Pluto in Aquarius. Then moon will be moving into the sign of Aquarius on Sunday, so we'll be ending this week, beginning a new one with moon in the sign of Aquarius. And last but not least, on Sunday the 20th, or for some of you already Monday the 21st, Sun will be making a square to Mars, Sun in Taurus, Mars in Leo, back in Leo as of a few days ago. And this is evolving a cycle that began between the two of them on November 18, 2023, when they lasted their conjunction in Scorpio on 25 degrees 37 minutes. And this is preparing them for the next conjunction, which will take place on January 9th, 2026 on 19 degrees of Capricorn. All right, so as I already mentioned, we are starting my birthday week, and I'm sure many other people's birthday week with April 21st, Monday, April 21st. And just to mention very quickly, we are in that very rare period in this year where we have all the planets direct, because Venus stationed direct after the full moon in Libra, and the next planet station in retrograde will be Pluto on the 4th of May. So at the moment, all the planets are direct, so everything is moving much faster than we've been experiencing pretty much until this point this year. So Monday the 21st, we are entering the week with moon in the sign of Aquarius and Saturn in Pisces, making a conjunction to North Node in Pisces. So with regards to Saturn and North Node, this is resetting the cycle that began between the two of them on September 16, 2013, when they last made a conjunction in the sign of Scorpio. On 8 degrees 35 minutes, but the last conjunction between Saturn and North Node in the sign of Pisces took place on 28th of February 1877, and that was on 10 degrees 35 minutes of Pisces. This is 26 degrees on 50 and 51 minutes of Pisces. So the previous one on the 10 degrees, that was Pisces Cancer decan, and this is the final decan, so Scorpio decan, yes. And it's interesting because the last one happened in the sign of Scorpio. Okay, on Tuesday, Moon will move into the sign of Pisces. This for some folks, it's already Wednesday. So we will be ending cycles, preparing obviously for this new cycle, this new Moon in Taurus. Then on Wednesday, 23rd, Sun will be making a square to Pluto. And this is evolving the cycle that began between the two of them for the first time when they had a conjunction in the sign of Aquarius on 21st of January 2025 on 1 degree and 43 minutes of Aquarius. But because Sun is special, this is putting Pluto behind Sun. So this is for Pluto the closing square, which is the crisis in consciousness. What are we releasing? The sense of alienation, 3 degrees 47 minutes. Okay, on Wednesday also or Thursday, if you are in Europe, Venus will be making her third and a final conjunction to North Node in Pisces, 26 degrees, 54 minutes. So if we have the 654 sequence going on there. So the first conjunction took place on February 1st, and the second on April 1st between Venus and the North Node. This is a third and a final one. And then the following day, on Thursday, the 24th, Venus will be making her third and a final conjunction to Saturn. And this is 27 degrees, 14 minutes. So the conjunction between Venus and Saturn for the first time happened on January 18, and second one was on April 7th, before the full moon in Libra. All right, then on Friday, Moon will move into sign of Aries. On Saturday, 26th, on my birthday, and happy birthday to everybody else who is celebrating on the same day. And Mercury will leave his shadow, so we'll be moving past the point where Mercury was prior to his retrograde, 9 degrees 35 minutes. And on the same day, Venus will make a trine to Juno, and as I already mentioned, Mars will make his third and a final opposition to Pluto. The first one between the two of them actually took place on 29 degrees of Cancer to Capricorn, and that was on November 3rd, which is interesting because that's when I was coming here, and I'm literally just leaving a few days after my birthday. So yeah, so here we go, full cycle. And the second opposition took place on January 3rd, 1 degree and 08 minutes of Leo. So this one is happening on 3 degrees 48 minutes, and for some of you guys, again, it's already Sunday. Okay, and then Sunday the 27th, Moon will move into the sign of Taurus, and this is in preparation for the new Moon in Taurus, which we'll be experiencing on the same day. And for me personally, I'm going to have obviously my solar return day before, but also Moon will conjunct my Sun. And here we go. Then we enter into the next week, which of course will be having all the transits, which we will be seeing in this chart for the new moon in Taurus. But some of them will be becoming exact afterwards. So this is the week when I'm relocating back to Europe. So April the 28th, we will begin the week with Moon in the sign of Taurus, transiting through the third and the final decan. And then on Tuesday the 29th, early hours, Moon will move into a sign of Gemini. Then so there's not all that much happening actually in that week. Then on Wednesday the 30th, Venus will re-enter Aries. We know that Venus already was in the sign of Aries, then moved back into the sign of Pisces. Now she's re-entering Aries, still in her shadow. And then on May 1st, which is on Thursday, so this is when I'm arriving back to Europe, Moon will be moving into the sign of Cancer. Makes sense to me because I have Moon in Cancer and I'm going back to my roots. You can't make this stuff up. So yeah, May 1st, Moon is moving into the sign of her rulership Cancer, and the North Node and Uranus are going to have a sextile, and at the same time, of course, Uranus is going to be trining the South Node, which we already will see technically almost exact on the chart of the new Moon in Taurus. So yeah, May 1st, Uranus is making a sextile to North Node and trine to the South Node. And last time Uranus and North Node conjunct was in summer 2022, I believe, and that was in a sign of Taurus. I'm pretty sure because it was around the time of my nodal return. All right, then Friday the 2nd of May, Mars will leave his pre-retrograde shadow, 6 degrees 10 minutes of Leo. So after that, Mars is in a new territory. And then on the same day, Venus will make her third and a final conjunction to Neptune, but the first one in a sign of Aries, again, just like Mercury, is doing today when I'm recording this. I believe. Let me have a look because I'm really not able to keep all these transits in my head right now. No, I'm recording this with the Mars making a trine. Okay, I forgot already when Mercury was making a conjunction to Neptune, but never mind. It already happened by this point anyway, and then Venus is making a conjunction to Neptune on Friday, 1 degree 9 minutes. Venus in the sign of Aries, Neptune in a sign of Aries. And then on Saturday the 3rd, Moon will move into the sign of Leo, and on Sunday the 4th, as I already mentioned, Pluto will station retrograde on 3 degrees, 49 minutes of Aquarius, and Pluto will remain retrograde until October 13th, 2025, and will station direct on 1 degree and 22 minutes of Aquarius. So it will go back, well, more than 2 degrees. All right, so that's technically it with regards to naming all the transits. So we can see we have very busy 2 weeks ahead, especially this upcoming week. The week after is, half of the week is quiet, and then things get busy again. But let me just share the charts now so we can see what's going on in a real time, almost. And yeah, I actually have so many charts that not all of them are happening right here, right now. So this is... Okay, you should be able to see it now. So this is the chart for the new moon in Taurus, which is happening on April 27th. This is my local time zone, which is 1:30 in the afternoon. So this is resetting the cycle that began last year on 7th of May 2024. This was local time in Mexico at the time. I was actually already in Europe at the time, but never mind. Here we are in Mexico right here, right now, and I'm recording this. And yeah, at the time, we can see we just had the Jupiter, actually, yes, Jupiter just conjunct the Uranus. That happened a few days before on the 20th of April, I believe. So we had a big stellium in Taurus over here. Pluto was already in the sign of Aquarius, already retrograde at the time. The nodes were still in the sign of Aries and Libra, halfway through 15 degrees. Mars 5 degrees Aries. That's technically almost pretty much where, yeah, Neptune, Mercury is. Venus is moving back into the sign of Aries soon. So anyway, so we can see there was an inconjunction taking place, and that was pointing towards the south node. So there was a lot of things that obviously we had to learn with regards to our relational dynamics and how much power we are externalizing to the other. With the Saturn over here, Saturn, of course, being a sign of Pisces, as it is still, getting ready for his move into Aries next month in May. And yeah, Saturn was on 17 degrees. This is Cancer decan. We just had this retrograde of Mars in the sign of Cancer, which was all about us reestablishing a new sense of identity. At the time, Neptune was on the anaretic 29 degrees. So anyway, so this resetted the cycle, which now we... this began the cycle, which now we are resetting. So that was the beginning of the cycle, but everything is cycles within cycles within cycles, as we know. But the cycle that we are resetting now with this new moon in Taurus began on 7th of May 2024, where we had a massive stellium in Taurus. Venus was closing to the moon as the ruler of the moon, and that means that Venus had to go through her rebirth, that she just had now in her retrograde from Aries to Pisces and then back into the sign of Aries. Venus was becoming reborn, because our sense of value changed towards ourselves in other, and also what do we actually value, what holds a meaning, what lost a meaning with the Neptune on 29 degrees. Then we had the full moon in Taurus, that was 15th of November 2024. So we can see there is a lot happening over here. And also moon was conjunct Uranus at the time. So yeah, that was what's going on here with this Uranus. Also here, yeah, Uranus new phase. Here moon was closing to Uranus, so we breaking free from the old sense of identity, who we were. Yeah, Uranus new phase to the moon, also Jupiter, and Jupiter new phase to the new moon as well. So this was all about creating a new direction, new story with regards to how do we value ourselves and what is the foundation. And here moon was closing to Uranus. Mars, where is Mars? Mars was already in Leo, getting ready for his retrograde soon. And yeah, re-establishing our sense of purpose. That's what Mars helped us to really do during our retrograde time. Mars going from Leo to Cancer, then through Cancer back to Leo. Now, obviously, Mars is having his third and a final position with Pluto. We are creating, balancing who we were with who we becoming and where we're going with all of that. So this all was a preparation for that. Also, Pluto 29 degrees, 55 minutes. Yeah, Pluto shifted only a couple of days after, I believe. Actually, no, it was the 19th, wasn't it? 4 days later. So yeah, so we have the square from Lilith. The nodes were being squared by Venus as the ruler, squared the south node ruled by Venus at the time. So that was the resolution node. So yeah, number 5, a lot of chaos, a lot of situation that took place between November and now that again helped us to see, because the Libra is the reflection, is the outside world reflecting back to us what it is that is in alignment or is out of alignment. Okay, this is the current chart which we dive into. The full moon will take place on 5th of November this year, 5th of November 2025. Uranus will be on 0 degrees at the time, and both Saturn and Neptune will be back in the sign of Pisces, still within an orb conjunction with the North Node. North Node will be already traveling through the second decan of Pisces, which is the Cancer decan. And yeah, and the cycle will again reset on May 16th, 2026. And we can see Uranus 1 degree already, because Uranus is going to move into sign of Gemini, re-enter on April 26, 2026, exactly on my birthday. And here we have all these new conjunctions: new phase conjunction Mercury, new phase to the moon, Uranus new phase to the moon, Venus new phase to Uranus. Yeah, and again we have the yacht pointing to the south node in Virgo, adjustments 5 degrees. Again, the 5 degrees, the change agent. Yes, because everything is in a new sign here already. Chiron is still in Aries. That's going to change. By the summer we'll have Chiron in Taurus as well, but everybody else is in the new signs. All right, so yeah, there was this in conjunction to Venus. Well, will be in November, pointing towards the Venus in Libra, balancing what we will be balancing at the time of the full moon in Taurus. So that's for another conversation. Okay, so now we're going to focus at the current chart for this new moon in Taurus, 27th of April. Don't get hung up on the ascendant and the houses, because this is local to here, Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, but we can see it's on 7 degrees, 46 minutes. So first decan of Taurus, 7 degrees. That's a Libra degree. So again, we are establishing more balance and harmony. Venus is still in the sign of Pisces. At this stage, Venus is in a new phase conjunction, again, with both North Node and Saturn, post her third and a final conjunction with North Node and Saturn. So this is all about, as I already mentioned, Venus being reborn, reevaluating what holds a meaning, what lost a meaning. Venus still in this opposition with the South Node, balancing the past. You know, the South Node in Virgo is the human experience until this point. Also, Lilith here is making an opposition to this new moon in Taurus. What are we balancing with this? Is the shadow. The shadow we don't want to face. Again, is the 5 degrees. 5 degrees is the Leo degree. What is our authentic expression? What did we suppress in order to belong? Authentic expression. And Mars here is in 4 degrees, making a square to Lilith. Actually, we can see we have this grand fixed cross going on between Pluto, the moon, Mars, and Lilith. So this is creating a pressure for change to take place. Mars is already past the opposition exact degree, 3 degrees. This is one day after. So Mars is now moving into the Scorpionic in conjunction, will be in Scorpio in conjunction when it gets to Virgo. Yeah, Virgo to Aquarius. So yeah, opposition, as I already mentioned, this is to do with who we were and who we are becoming now that we had this Mars retrograde, and now we have this integration of it. Mars will move the shadow on the 2nd of May, as I already mentioned. Venus is still in her shadow. At this stage, Mercury is out of his shadow. It moved past at 9 degrees, so Mercury is out of his shadow, and also Venus will move out of her shadow, but not until 16th of May, which will be after the full moon in Scorpio. So what we can see that it's supporting us over here. I mean, the moon is making just challenging aspect. Why? Because we're creating this new foundation. Venus is in Pisces because we understand that a lot of the old foundation on which our life is built up on is not working, right? We have this Saturn 27 degrees, that's a Gemini degree. Final decan of Pisces, which is the Scorpio decan, right? So we need to choose something different, decide something different. Again, Mars, Pluto opposition squared by Lilith. Lilith is opposing the moon, facing the shadows of who we are, because everybody holds a shadow, right? It's the yin and yang. There is not just like, you cannot see the light if there is no shadow. You cannot see, like the good if there is no bad, right? Like everything in this reality that we are experiencing on this planet at the moment, everything is needed because it offers the contrast for evolution to take place, so people can decide what works for them, what doesn't. So with all of these these squares, especially in Jupiter, also is squaring. Jupiter is coming into the square with the node, not exact just yet, but already squaring the node within the degree, pointing to the North Node as the resolution node. North Node, again, being in Pisces, 26 degrees. This is Taurus, right? Taurus degree. So that's about foundation. Letting go of doesn't work, doesn't serve us. This Neptune is still on 0 analytic degrees of Aries, seeking a new meaning. Mercury in a new phase now for the third time had a conjunction. First time, as I mentioned, first time in the sign of Aries with Neptune, and this is a new phase conjunction, creating a new way of perceiving and identifying reality that holds deeper meaning, that is helping us to move away and integrate the sacrifices, the life lived before now when we didn't have the tools that we have now, because Virgo is about learning and adjusting. It's about continuous expansion through betterment, right? But also through discernment. Is this in my control? Is this not in my control? So with this Virgo South Node and Mercury now on this 11 degrees, 11 master number frequency, 11 degree of Aries, this is supporting us in choosing something that ignites that passion, right? Ignites the passion. Mercury here is trining Mars, right? Mercury is trining Mars, not exact, but within a degree. So, and Mars being in a sign of Leo again, as I mentioned, still in a shadow, but not for much longer. 4 degrees, Cancer degree, still Leo decan. So this is helping us to establish this new sense of who we are and reconnect with the inner child, reconnect with the authentic expression that is allowing us to break free from the restraints of the past, which was all about survival. So this Uranus is supporting this North Node, right? Because the exact trine, sextile to North Node, trine to the South Node is happening on the 1st of May. So yeah, this Uranus is supporting the process, being the ruler of Pluto. Pluto is already slowing down. It's only going to go 1 minute more before station in retrograde. So this Uranus being on the last degrees of Taurus, trine in the South Node, it's saying, okay, the foundation is not steady, right? It's not steady. With the Venus in Pisces, is connected to the past, but Venus is now being reborn, right? Conjuncted North Node Saturn 3 times. We have the opportunity to co-create a new foundation with the spirit, which from the logical mind, right? The logical mind, the Mercury, the left brain, it doesn't make any sense. Like, how can I have more sense of safety and security when I'm trusting something I can't see, right? How is that making me feel safe and secure? But that is the only way, right? That is the only way that is in alignment with the age of Aquarius, working with the quantum field, which is invisible field, right? We can't see electricity, we can't see frequency, we know it's there because we can feel it, but we can't see it. Well, I mean, you can see the electricity, you can see the light, but you cannot see the electricity like running, right? And then, and then the Pisces does the spirit world, right? The spirit world, you have to tune in, with your intuition. So now Mars, being post-retrograde, still in a shadow, but anyway, almost there, almost out of it, only 2 more degrees to go. So this Mars was helping us to reconnect with our emotional intelligence. It's helping us to move into the direction that is more like, I don't want to say feminine because it's not the right way to say it, but like more in connection with our divine feminine essence, which is the receptivity, right? As we were talking about last time, when I was saying that the feminine energy is like a little bit misinterpreted because it's not necessarily just about female, right? Being more female, but it's about being guided by something that you receive, right? You receive from inside out. So we have this, it is a square because it's something that we are learning, right? We are learning to be authentic. It's not something that, we were being taught, most of us. And it's part of this new foundation that is balancing, the 7 degrees, that is balancing the imbalance, the shadow, the aspects of ourselves we had to suppress in order to fit into the society that by this stage, it's not it's not well, it's not healthy society. It adjusted to all of this stuff, but it's not healthy. So it needs to change, it needs to be rebuilt, because this Uranus over here, like it's the rule of Pluto. Pluto is on 3 degrees, and actually this is adding up to 12, which is 3 as well, so 3 number 6, that's the harmony and balance, but 3, the number of Jupiter, the number of expansion, and Jupiter is square in the nodes. It's saying you need to let go. What do we need to let go? The old stories, the old program, the old belief systems. You have to choose something different. Even if you can't see it, it doesn't matter. Mercury is on 11 degrees. Just tap into your spirit. Mars here in Leo, tap into your heart. right? Tap into the fire of creation, the Kundalini, the Shakti, the desire that keeps you going, that makes you wake up every morning. What do you desire? What do you still want to experience? Make that to be the foundation of your life, not just the survival, but the enjoyment of the human experience, the Taurus being embodied, having the senses, having the body, the avatar, having the opportunity to enjoy life, right? But how we do it, how can we do it from this way of perceiving reality, which most of us have, which is built on this old program, the old program that doesn't work, which is always worrying about everything, worrying about money, worrying about how we're going to pay bills, worrying about what we're going to eat, how we're going to eat, about how our food is polluted or whatever. Constant worry and anxiety, right? Like most of us are in this sympathetic nervous system mode most of the time, which is why people are seeking ways to escape addictions, right? Substance abuse, whatever it is, doesn't matter, pharmaceuticals, because we are in a constant survival mode, constant sympathetic nervous system. You turn on news again, fear porn, right? Like fear mongering everywhere, fear mongering. So the Uranus is saying, okay, well, let's let go of this, like with the 26 degrees again, Taurus degree in Capricorn, Decan, Saturn being in Pisces, here on this is a Gemini degree, right? So it's saying like you need to choose something different. This is not working, this is gonna burn your sockets, especially once Uranus goes into Gemini. It's gonna blow our head off, like too many things to worry about, too much information, like what the hell, So that's why Jupiter here is pointing to this North Node that he's the traditional ruler of, while Neptune is already in Aries, 0 degrees, still hanging on for dear life on this 0 degree for this lunation. So it's saying, I know you need to seek a new meaning. What holds a deeper meaning? What is all of this for? It is not just about survival. You didn't come here to survive. That was the ancestors, right? They made all these sacrifices for us to have new choices, different choices, to be able to put everything that they accumulated with regards to their experience into use, better use, not replicate their experience, right? It's like it doesn't, you know, like I know, again, this goes into philosophies, mythologies, and belief systems, but it doesn't necessarily make you a better person to sacrifice your life. Like, yeah, from the human perspective of the program that we are all wired with, which is this sacrifice, martyrdom, and blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, oh, yeah, look at this person. They're such a good person. They sacrificed their whole life. And then look at how bad that then at the end of their life, they became sick. It's unfair, it's unjust. But we didn't come here to sacrifice, not at this time and age. That's why we have this big square over here, because we came here to learn to thrive. We came here to learn to enjoy life. The sacrifice is Pisces age dogma and paradigm, right? This is something that we already outgrown. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good to sacrifice. So that's why we are recalibrating ourselves, and we are tuning into, okay, how to live life different way, how to establish this new foundation, which is complete alien to us. Uranus, complete alien. We don't know how. Like number 3 degrees, like a Three of Pentacles, learning. What are we learning? We're learning to live life in a different way. But there is no blueprint because it's Aquarius. Aquarius is about breaking pattern. There is no blueprint. There is no do it this way because I did it this way. It's going to make you happy. Not necessarily. You have to find your own way. And that's why Mars is in Leo, 4 degrees, this Cancer degree, 8 degrees, the strength. You have to have the strength to step into the unknown, to find your own way that is authentic to you, right? And that's why there is so much challenge, so much friction, so much pressure that is forcing the shadow to come out. This like chaos agent, like, okay, I had enough of this, like when you keep poking someone and at the end they're gonna blow, they're gonna go after you because they go, I stopped doing that, right? So all these energies are poking at us and saying that, okay, well, what you've been suppressing all your life, because you cannot keep living that way, just like this continuous suffering and struggle and, just being in this constant sympathetic nervous system mode, the South Node in Virgo nervous system, right? We're learning to regulate and heal our nervous system. How? By taking care of yourself, by creating a different foundation, by focusing what really matters, just like Lee Harris keeps saying many times in his channels, from Z's, if you were being given 1 week to live, 1 month to live, 1 year to live, it doesn't matter on the number, but if somebody gave you the limit, okay, this is how much time you have, would you worry about politics? Would you worry about, oh, who's gonna, I don't know, do whatever? No, you're gonna focus on your life. You're gonna really, really discern and decide, okay, you know what, if I have one more month left on this earth, even a year, it's, you know, time is going quickly. Even if it was a year, if I have a limited amount of time left on this earth, and I know it, I was being told, right? How do I want to spend it? And I mean, nobody knows. Nobody knows how much time we have, but we're all waiting for what? For what? For retirement? You know, everybody's waiting for what? You know, so this moon that is on 7 degrees, 7 is Neptune, right? And Neptune is in Aries, right? And Mars is opposing Pluto over here, squaring the moon. First quarter square, crisis in action. What do we need to change? Our expression, authentic expression. Am I doing what I actually enjoy? Does it put my heart on fire? Does it make my heart sing? Or what am I doing? Right? What am I doing? So that's what I mean. There is no quick answer. I mean, South Node is in Virgo, right? There's no quick answer. This is Taurus season. You know, things are not going to start moving like extra crazy speed, but they're moving, right? We're no longer in retrograde. This is, apart from this lunation, the only other lunation which we had where everything was direct was the new moon in Pisces at the end of February. It was right before Venus stationed retrograde on March 1st, right after Mars station direct. That was the only lunation we had with all planets direct after this one. And I don't believe there is another one this year, because as of May 4th, we're going to have planets going retrograde literally until God knows when next year. So this is the second and last lunation this year with all planets direct. So we can already feel this forward momentum. Okay, you know, now all planets are direct. Everything got illuminated with the Libra full moon, you know, like we had the eclipses before that. Okay, now we know, we can't say we don't know. We can feel, we can sense, you know, like the pressure is on, you know, the challenge is here. Okay, how do we change, right? So this is all about creating a new foundation that integrates the shadow. That is not like, oh, I need to reject all these aspects of myself. I mustn't tell anyone because then they're going to reject me because the society decided that this is unacceptable, right? The society that is like what? The entire society, right? Where everybody has different culture, religion, different values, different things, all the meaning. You know, like seriously, like I come from Eastern Europe, I was being brought up in a way that I have to be quiet and obedient and a good girl, right? You come here in South America, you know, Central America, whatever, you know, kids are meant to be wild and expressive. If the kid is a yes man, then probably the parents would think that something wrong with the kid. So that's what I mean. You know, you have a different, you have the whole world, right? Where the way of perceiving reality, the values, everything is different. But we were being conditioned to believe that, oh no, you have to be the same. You have to act the same, you know, and this is unacceptable. And obviously use discernment, you know, like going around shooting people is not exactly acceptable, is it? But you know, there are other things that we were being told that, okay, being this way is not good. For who? You know, again, being in Europe, perhaps being outspoken or whatever, it's, you know, maybe like a confident people, it's like, oh yeah, they are egocentric or these are people are bad because they're confident. Again, you go to different parts of the world, like Central or Latin America, people are confident, right? So that's what I mean. It's like there is no one size fits all. But if people don't travel, like Sagittarius, right, with this Jupiter being in Gemini, if people don't travel, if they haven't come out of their own box that they're being put into based on the program, the identity, right, the labels that we place on ourselves, then people don't know. They don't know. They only know what the box tells them, right? The television or something. But they, all of these are some people's perceptions. It is not your own, unless you really go to Africa or go to Asia or go wherever and speak to people and understand. You don't really know, right? And even these things keep changing all the time because everybody keeps changing. Everybody keeps growing and evolving, the whole world. So going back to this lunation, we are establishing a new foundation. And isn't that interesting? And this is something that I want to sidestep, that we have this Saturn in a new phase conjunction with North Node, because we are entering the week of this moon, 21st of April, we'll have the Saturn North Node conjunction. And as I just mentioned, the last one in the sign of Pisces was in 1877, right? 1877, here we go. I don't have the exact time, I just got it like, okay, well, wherever they are here. So 10 degrees, 10 degrees. What is next year? 10 degrees, the reset year, 2026, 10 degrees. And at the time, we can see Sun was conjunct in it, right? We had the Sun, North Node, Saturn all conjuncting each other in the sign of Pisces on 10 degrees, which is moving from Pisces to Cancer, right? We had all of this stuff going on here in Aquarius, and Pluto was squaring the stellium in Aquarius, also Uranus on 21 degrees of Leo. So Uranus is squaring where he is now, right? Uranus is now on what, 27? 26 degrees of Taurus. So at the time Uranus was in Leo, and Pluto was in Taurus, 22 degrees, which is already a Capricorn decan, right? This is a Capricorn degree as well. Yeah, Capricorn degree. And we had Chiron close into Neptune. Chiron was in Aries at the time, as it is now, exactly the same thing. And the North Node was on 3 degrees of Taurus, 3 degree, again, 3 degree. This is exactly squaring the point where Pluto is now, 3 degrees. 3 degrees Aquarius, right? 3 degrees Taurus at the time, technically conjuncting this moon, right? Close into the moon, Neptune. So all of this all like began long time ago. Like we can see Mars close into Jupiter, 29 degrees, analytic degrees. The story was to end anyway. You know, was already now 1877, 19th century. And we already knew that no, we were going to come to the point, you know, like 100 and whatever years later, we're going to come to the point where we're going to realize with the sun, you know, this is new phase, closing phase between North Node and the sun. Technically, but new phase between Sun and Saturn, right? That we now came full cycle, you know, with this Saturn, the North Node in Pisces conjunction, that we realized that really this way of living now doesn't hold the same meaning as it is even in 1877, right? And the last conjunction between Saturn and North Node prior to this one took place in Scorpio. Scorpio, 8 degrees. Again, Scorpio, empowerment, disempowerment, right? Even the previous one already was on Scorpio decan, 10 degrees and a change. No, sorry, Cancer decan, not Scorpio decan. Cancer decan. The one now is in Scorpio decan, isn't it? Yeah, this one is in Scorpio decan that we just had now. So we had the Cancer decan, then last one was in Scorpio, and this one is on Scorpio decan. Yeah, I knew there was a Scorpio there somewhere. And this one was conjunct Venus. Yeah, Venus was close into it. Venus, because we gave our power away. You know, we gave our power away in order to survive, right? South Node in Taurus, to survive, right? So since 2013, we came a long way to get to the point where we realized that, well, no, we're not here just to survive. That's the old story, right? Uranus at the time was in Aries, preparing us. 11 degrees. Look where Mercury is now. Same. The program is changing. Mercury is the upcoming ruler of Uranus. The program is changing. The way of identifying reality, we need to go beyond that, beyond the program, override the program, catch it, catch it. Does it feel good in my body? Does it hold a meaning? Does it in alignment with what I want? If not, okay, I need to override it. You know, I cannot allow this subconscious program, which is not even mine. It's not even mine. It came from long time ago, even before this time, but it came from long time ago. Look, Uranus here was already in Aquarius. It was like, no, 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 Uranus, Mercury. Mercury in Aquarius, Uranus in Gemini, coming up, right? Coming up. And here, where was Mercury? Here, Libra, perfect. Yeah, that was the point of the balance, opportunity for balancing. Libra, and this is Aquarius degree, right? Aquarius degree, perfect. Pisces, Aquarius decan Pisces degree, that's it. All right, so going back to this chart. And there are other things. I mean, we could just spend an hour just looking at these two charts, right? Look, Mars at the time was also in Leo, just like it is now. Perfect. Perfect. Lilith was in Leo, Mars in Leo. Before that, Mars, Sag, yeah, all the fire, right? All the fire. And Mars here again in Leo, fire, 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 creating. What are we creating? We're creating a new direction. How are we going to create it? Well, under pressure, if nothing else, because the old story doesn't make sense anymore, right? North Node, Jupiter, the rulers of the North Node. Jupiter and Neptune, sorry, the rulers of the North Node. North Node is in Pisces. North Node is on Taurus degree. It's saying no, new foundation. New foundation is needed because we need to balance the shadow. We need to see it. We need to look at it. We need to face it. That's what the Libra full moon was helping us with. Yeah. And the Uranus was conjuncting the full moon and new moon. 6 months ago and 1 year ago, full moon and a new moon, right? We already looked at that here. New phase, moon was closing to Uranus. That's it. because then we had Mars going retrograde in the sign of Cancer. You're not who you were. You're not who you were, right? Where was Moon? Virgo, Aquarius. Yes, perfect. Aquarius, exactly. Aquarius, Libra decan, Pisces degree. Hmm. Yeah, Moon was close into Neptune. Liberation, 3 degrees. 3 degrees, again, 3 degrees, just like Pluto is now, 3 degrees, right? 3 degrees. Neptune was 3 degrees Pisces, and before that, 3 degrees Taurus. 3 degrees. We have to create it. It doesn't yet exist. We can't see it yet. This is 11 degrees. It's an Aquarian degree. Second decan Leo. We have to create it by becoming who you came here to be, what feels in alignment, right? Because Mars is the traditional ruler of Lilith. What do we not want to see? So there might be some disruption, 5 degrees, to make us see. But this is a new moon. We don't see nothing. We don't see the new foundation we're creating. We just see the after effects of the Libra full moon, which brought up a lot of stuff, like everything that's in balance, everything that's still stuck and trapped in time, the energy. Chiron, the key, is on the final degrees of Aries. This is Aquarian degree, Sagittarius decan, right? Just like it was here. 29 degrees Sagittarius, ending that story. Jupiter is squaring. Again, Jupiter is squaring. It's squaring the nodes. It's squaring Saturn. It's squaring Venus. Technically, it's still squaring Neptune. Out of sign, but still 10-degree orb. It's squaring all of this. I mean, it's squaring South Node too, obviously. But yeah, and look, where was the moon? 20 degrees. Yeah, 20 degrees almost. Not quite conjuncting the South Node now. 20 degrees. Virgo to Aries in conjunction. Yeah, this chart doesn't have any in conjunction. All the other ones do, right? Venus in conjunction here, South Node in conjunction there, and it began with South Node in conjunction and Venus Mars in conjunction last time with the full moon. We can't see where we're going because we haven't been there before. So we need to learn to trust ourselves. We need to tap into our body, and this is what we're creating. This is what we're seeding now. Foundation of a future, right? Foundation of a future. The next Saturn no conjunction is probably going to happen in next 140 years or something, right? So yeah, 12 years from now with the North Node somewhere else. So let's see. Last time it was in Scorpio, so water, a lot of water, intuition, emotion, feelings, learning to regulate our emotional response, cultivating emotional intelligence. That's why Mars was retrograde in Cancer. Apparently doesn't like being in Cancer. Why not? Who decides? Who said? Just because a few thousand years ago, that's how it was interpreted? Yes, because people didn't have time to feel. They had to get on with life. They had to survive. You feel too much, you're dead, right? You can't overthink it. You have to keep going, right? But now we're living in a different time. Everything's changed. Now Mars is saying, no, no, you have to feel. You have to feel because how else you know who you are? How else you know where you're going? How else you know if what you're experiencing is or isn't in alignment with what you're experiencing, with who you are, right? With the desire of your soul. So the North Node in Pisces is navigating us back to ourselves, back to our higher self, back to the soul, back to the true essence of who you are. Pisces, the totality, the source, with Neptune on 0 degrees. Yeah, and Venus close into Neptune, the conjunction in Aries for the first time in our lifetime. We already had Mercury conjunct Neptune for the first time in our lifetime, the first planet that conjunct Neptune in the sign of Aries. Moon is conjuncting Neptune, obviously, in Aries before it moves into Taurus, but Mercury was the first. Mercury was the first. That was the reset, right? Mercury in Aquarius, because we're breaking free, we're breaking that pattern, we're breaking it. In Libra, we were balancing it. And now Mercury is in Aries. We're going. That's it. We are going. That's the square to Libra. No, opposition, sorry. Opposition to Libra. Sextile to Aquarius. In order to go where we haven't been before, we need to be brave and courageous enough to go for it, to jump in. What was in Aries? Oh, yeah, Uranus. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Uranus. Uranus was in Aries 2013. That was right after Neptune moved into Pisces. Yeah, the 3 degrees. And even there we have in conjunction to Pisces, Neptune. So yeah, so this is a foundation which we're creating under pressure because the old doesn't work. So we don't kind of have a choice. We just know that, okay, things have to change. How they're going to change? Well, I need to learn to trust myself because the world out there doesn't make much sense and is not very trustworthy, right? With the Saturn in Pisces, like there are a lot of lies, a lot of illusions, and the spell is breaking. So we can see now with the Venus in the new phase, right? 28, again, number 10, where we head in next year, and Mercury on 11 degrees, the master number frequency, we are being guided and supported. Conjunct Neptune, new phase, close into Chiron. The key is within you, 23 degrees. Aquarius, the key is within you. Pluto on 3 degrees, opposing Mars. Who are you becoming? You decide with the Uranus or Jupiter over here squaring, ruled by this Mercury, right? And Jupiter being the traditional rule of the North Node, the modern rule of the North Node being in Aries, the rule of Venus, and Venus is the ruler of the Moon. So the past and the future are colliding in a present moment for us to decide what are we seeding for the future, what kind of foundation, and the foundation has to come from inside out. Pisces, Taurus, South Node in Virgo. Listen to the song of your heart, the Mars, right? But the moon is in Taurus. How does it feel in your body? Sorry, sun and the moon, because the sun is the rule of Mars at the moment. Moon was the rule of Mars until recently, until Mars moved back into Leo 2 days ago when I'm recording this. So yeah, so I guess this is all I'm gonna say because there is a lot to say, but nothing really to say because again, all of these energies are now preparing you for these times we are stepping into, which are going to be very individuated. Um, if we keep going in the same direction, it's just going to keep recreating and perpetuating the same trauma loop response, right? Which is becoming unbearable, which is why so many people are very, very interested in healing, understanding themselves, like ancestor stuff and, whatever. Just like they want to break the spell, they want to break the pattern because it's unbearable, because it no longer feels good, because we outgrown it. It's like 2013, last conjunction, Saturn North Node, right? In Scorpio, 8 degrees, the strength, right? Scorpio degree, that's it. Venus was involved, 6 degree, right? We have to balance something over here. We have to balance how much power we gave to other to survive, right? That didn't really work for us very good because, yeah, we remember that when Saturn conjunct North Node last time, Mercury was here in Aquarius. So it was like, okay, well, that doesn't really work very well for us. We need to change this program, right? Because Pluto in Taurus over here, Capricorn, 22 degrees, Capricorn Deacon was saying, well, in order to free yourself, you have to become your own authority. That's it. Moon was in a new phase with South Node in Virgo, right? Yeah, Mercury going back to Mercury in Aquarius. That program had to change. And now we're changing the program because now Mercury is in Aries. Neptune is in Aries. And Uranus is ending his stint in Taurus. It's like, nah, not doing that anymore, right? Uranus was in a new phase to this Pluto, right? 22, 26. Uranus new phase to Pluto. So it's happening. Now it's happening. It's really happening. With this Mercury on 11 degrees Aries. That's where we are at. So yeah, going back to what I started saying, that we are stepping into the direction which will be deeply individuated, because when people decided, okay, you know what, I care about myself and respect myself enough to do things differently, because the old way of doing things, which is looking outside of myself, asking for someone else to decide for me, doesn't feel good no more. Saturn is just about to move into Aries. That's it. Not doing that anymore. I want to be my own authority. I want to be in charge of my life. I don't want someone else to tell me how to live it. So a lot of things have to change. We have to face the shadow. Okay, why did I do that? Why did I allow that? Not to judge ourselves or to chastise ourselves, but having the compassion and forgiveness. Venus in Pisces, unconditional love, exaltation, right? Venus in Pisces, exaltation. So having the compassion for oneself to go like, oh yeah, it was a trauma response, but it wasn't mine. It was something I embodied for the humanity, for the collective. And now I know, now I can see it. I have the awareness, I can change it. I can change it because I'm trying to balance who I was with where I'm going. And now I know who I am not because Mars went retrograde and is going direct and shortly will be out of his shadow. Mercury is already out of his shadow. Venus will be soon out of her shadow next month after the full moon in Scorpio. So the story is just building up. It's building up, but it's going to the same place, which is the North Node in Pisces. What holds a meaning for you? What really matters? And it is changing. It is not the same thing it was for your ancestors. It has to come from your heart, not from this, okay, this is where I came from, this is who I am, this is my label, this is my lineage, blah, blah, blah. So I just have to keep going in the same direction. No, you don't. Because as I mentioned many times before, your children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and all the children born after, they won't want to do the same. They won't want to have to sacrifice because they are wired differently than they were when they were here in 1877, right? When Saturn last at the conjunction with North Node, it's not the same. Like it's a new expression of the soul. It always keeps changing. That's the only constant, the change. That's why Jupiter is squaring the node in Gemini, saying, well, you have to choose something different, What holds a meaning to you? Again, going back to this 0 degrees Neptune. Whichever direction you look at, it's always this 0 degree of Neptune in conjunction with Mercury. And what was the 11? Oh, yeah, Uranus, yes. Retrograde. Of course, it's retrograde because it's an internal process. You decide. You decide. So with this new moon in Taurus, which will be full moon in Taurus, illumination 5th of November with the Uranus on 0 degrees, just like Neptune is now 0 degrees, but these guys will be back in Pisces over here, right? But then by the time of the new moon in Taurus 2026, everything is in the new sign. Almost Chiron will be getting ready for it. Chiron is where 28 degrees. What is 29? Oh, Venus here. Yeah, 28 degrees. So yeah, the key is within you. Chiron in Aries, ruled by Mars on 4 degrees, Cancer degree of Leo, with the both Moon and Sun on 7 degrees, Libra degree, Neptune number, which is in Aries, which takes you back to this Mars and back to this Sun in Taurus. What holds a meaning? What holds a value? Do you value yourself enough to receive? Do you believe in yourself enough to rebuild, to create a different expression? And that's what we're learning. We're learning to believe that just by being brave and courageous to show up, because nobody's got it all figured out. Nobody knows. We didn't come here to fix the world. The world is not for you to fix. You came here to create the life that you enjoy, joyous expansion, right? And learn. Learn and adjust. That's the Virgo. That's the human journey, hero's journey. We're here for 5 minutes. So why wait? We don't know how much time we have left. Why wait? What holds a value? What holds a meaning? Focus on that. We are learning to focus. We are learning to master our mind, especially with the Jupiter in Gemini, because then we're going to have to learn to master our emotions. But once we master these two things, by the time Jupiter moves into Leo in 2026, you're good. If you master these two things, by the time Jupiter is in Leo next year, when the nodes move into Leo Aquarius and everybody is in a new sign, including Chiron in Taurus, you're good. You're good. You can create whatever you want. You become the Zeus, the god, right? The god that creates everything. So here we go. Yeah, Jupiter is still in Cancer this stage. 21, very good. 3. All right, guys, I'm really, 21. Yeah, world card is exactly. Okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing. I'm gonna leave it at that because I'm just going in circles talking about the same thing, which is not really necessary because these things means different things to different people. Because we are stepping deeper and deeper into the Aquarian age. I mean, Pluto's going to go retrograde soon, so that's where it's really going to start being processed internally, because all the planets at the moment direct, even after Pluto stations retrograde, we still have everybody else direct for a while, and then the rest of them will start stationing the retrograde Saturn, and eventually again we will have Mercury retrograde. So anyway, so I'll leave it at that. I'm gonna pull some cards, quite a few cards, because I'm gonna cover the next 2 weeks. So if you would like to hear more about that, then stay tuned, part two. And I hope that this helped some value. You know, it helped to give some kind of context, but whatever that means depends on you, because you are the creator of your reality. So you decide what you want this to mean for you. And this is literally what it is, because Jupiter is in Gemini. It's saying, well, you decide, right? With the, square in the north node being ruled by Jupiter, in Gemini, and Neptune in Aries. You decide, your choice. You decide what you want this to mean. You are not a slave to astrology. The astrology is just presenting energy, which is saying, oh yeah, we're creating a new foundation that either is in alignment with your value or isn't, or is a trauma response that is dictated by a survival instinct, but the sympathetic nervous system. So we're learning to master our mind. Number 11, Mercury on 11 degrees of Aries, master number frequency, trining Mars on 4 degrees, right? By creating the version of yourself that you want to be, that is in alignment, that makes you feel happy and allows for authentic expression. So with that, I wish you all a wonderful next 2 weeks. The next time I will be speaking to you will be, well, in this long video on YouTube, will be from Europe. So have a wonderful time. And yeah, once again, all the Tauruses, happy birthday and have a great new moon in Taurus. And I'll speak to you again from the other side. Much love, everyone, and bye for now.